Hi there, this is Tyler Johnston, aka Stuart, and you're listening to How Are You Now, the toughest podcast in Letterkenny.
God damn! Ooh!
Oh, yeah. We are the toughest fucking podcast on Letterkenny.
Yeah. That was fun. I was getting into that.
Tiara, how are you now?
Good, and you?
Oh, not so bad.
Yay.
We are in it to win it for this season 5 recap episode.
Ow.
Ow. And, ow.
Ow. I'm terrible at that.
And this episode, in case you're wondering, is in part sponsored by Anthony Pie Guy Hall, one of our Patreon patrons, on behalf of Gamefully Unemployed and their complimentary podcast network, Story Mode. Gamefully Unemployed is run by two fellas, Tom and Dave, who lost their jobs when Crack.com let go of a bunch of their staff. For the most part, they do podcasts, but they also game on Twitch and watch movies with everybody for every single week. You can find them on Twitter at GamefullyUn. They also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/GamefullyUnemployed. Their exclusive podcasts are Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, where they do a deep dive into all things Batman in video form. They also have Fox Mulder is a Maniac, an analysis of the show The X-Files, with the premise that Fox Mulder is insane. So for those people who may be unable to subscribe via Patreon, times are tough, especially at this time of year.
Yes.
Their complimentary network is called Story Mode. They do many things on there. They talk pop culture, review movies, play D&D, and a lot more. So please take some time and check them out.
Yeah, this episode is also sponsored in part by our friend, sometimes guest, and patron. I can never say that right. Valerie Lopez and Comedy Wham.
Yeah.
Comedy Wham is both a website, blog, podcast that covers a lot of Austin, Texas comedy scene. It was inspired by Chris Tellez's promotion at the Spider House Ballroom called Shit's Golden. Comedy Wham tirelessly covers the shows, open mics, venues, and performers who keep them going. There are also a number of interviews with the Letterkenny cast smattered throughout the podcast. Please check out Comedy Wham at comedywham.com or at Comedy Wham on Twitter.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, we've got no interview this time. So
right.
this is
the finale.
Yeah, the finale. We have no
Season
interview.
5.
We have no guests. We have no interview.
No celebrity guest this time, unfortunately.
I promise to everyone that I will endeavor to get more guests on, to get more of the cast on, to do interviews. So
the more
that.
we're finding out that they're finding out about us.
Yeah.
The more likely this is going to happen.
Yeah. So just a little quick off the top here. So we've had a bit of growth. Probably a little bit less. I don't know if it's just because of the time of the year or what. You know, we had. I think our
season
since we've been on, at least on Transistor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our highest month was August, and it's kind of tapered off since then. But we're still doing well. I mean,
I know a lot of people who don't listen for weeks though, and then listen to a whole bunch at once. So
that's okay. We're still, I mean, since we started on Transistor, which I think we started was back in June, with them, we are at almost so close to 39,000 downloads overall. And just for season 5, we had a total of 12,200 and something. Or actually I looked at it earlier because this is not updated. It's about 12,500 now. Our Facebook group has grown to 2,057, maybe a little bit more today. Our Twitter has hit 1,500 and actually, as of right now, 1,504.
Nice.
Instagram, 612, and Tumblr, 641. So we've had growth on all of those. And we've got 15 15 Patreon patrons.
Patreon. I
Patreon
swear,
patrons.
I will work on that.
Patreon patrons.
Patreon patrons.
It's Patreon's patrons, Mrs. Katie.
Raxacorical valedictorians.
There you go. You got that. You can get this.
It takes me a while to get those big things like that, but I'll get it.
So we've so our patrons are Courtney Scaglione, Dennis Guggen, who was a guest this season, Heidi, Pie Guy, Anthony, who is our sponsor from for Gamefully Unemployed, Kevin Wack, Mitch Cole, Monica McCoy, Reagan, Renee Encarnacion, who is a guest, Awesome, who filled in for you in episode 1, Shane Winsma, Shanna Swatsky, Valerie Lopez, who was also with us this season, and then we've got 2, Blue Eyed Devil and Vegas Matt.
Awesome.
So,
welcome, new ones.
Yeah,
I just want to say I love that you read off these names because I always have so much trouble saying a name. Like Shanna and I hung out on Friday night, and they were talking about, because like 3 of our group had names like that, and I'm like, I need it phonetically like written out, and I need to say it like 20 times before I can say it. And hers is not that difficult.
No, hers. Once you look at it, it's like something you would do to somebody. Swatsky.
If you're listening, I'm so sorry, Shanna.
I'm not sorry. It's probably what you should be doing to most people that you run into.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Anything else we want to cover before we get to our recap stuff? Podcasting wise, we're after we're done recording tonight, we're going to see Doug Benson.
Doug Loves Movies.
Doug Loves Movies, which is a great podcast. Highly recommend.
Yes.
If you're just looking for a good time, Doug is hilarious and he's completely stoned. Always 100.
What's his other show? Get Doug with High or something?
Getting
like
high,
that?
getting Doug with High. Yeah.
Yes. Seriously.
So yeah, he's hilarious. And also another recommendation. This is not a podcast, but it is a show that we've started watching, and there are many.
We started binge watching it.
Yes,
just like
and it's so good
this weekend, and watched almost to current.
Yeah, The Expanse.
Yes,
on Amazon Prime. It may be on something else up in Canada. I'm sure. I don't know. But
in other countries.
Yeah, right.
For in the US, it was on the Sci-Fi Channel for 2 years, and then Amazon picked it up.
3 years. Amazon was
this the first
season.
time?
Yeah.
Okay, so and this new season that we just started watching because we finally caught up.
Yep.
Quickly.
Yeah.
we have Letterkenny.
Yeah, Jess Alvaro's in it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. and it's a lot of fun watching her scenes because she really it's a very different character.
It is totally. But yeah, anyway,
it's great.
It's a really, if you like sci-fi stuff and drama,
I would lump it in with like Firefly.
It's like if Firefly was really dramatic.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so well written, so well thought out. So highly recommend. Check that out. That's what we're binging while we're waiting for season 8 to arrive on here in December 27th. So
in our last episode, we had not we did not have a U.S. date yet.
Right.
And now we officially do.
Yeah,
even though I know we all knew that it was going to be 2 days after Christmas, but
you were hesitant.
It wasn't in writing yet. It wasn't in writing. It doesn't work that way.
It's okay, babe.
Until they tell all of us.
It's okay.
Shh.
I love you.
Hush your face.
So let's go ahead and jump into season 5, episode 1. We Don't Fight at Weddings, which was number 1 by a landslide. I mean,
it was a really good episode.
It was an excellent episode, but yeah, I think there was a total of 40 votes for that. The next one, number 2, I think had a total. Baka Beach, which had a total of I want to say 16. Votes for it. So that's how much everybody loved this episode.
And just a reminder to all of you who listen to our podcast, if you go on our Facebook, that's where you see most of these things. On Twitter too. But the Facebook page is group, because there's both of those. The Facebook
you can't have a
group
group unless you have a page. Unfortunately.
But that's where you're going to find a lot of these polls, and we're asking what your favorite quotes were, your favorite episode, and you can talk to us through that page too, not just the emails.
Totally. And then also if you're a band, Because what you just heard up top was Brute Force, who was also a poll that we put out.
Right.
What music you like best? Brute Force came in first. James Honeycutt came in second. So Brute Force will be at the top. James Honeycutt will be at the bottom.
Lovely.
So that's we have some amazing unsigned musicians out there who really deserve some recognition. So, but
Absolutely.
if you're a fan of the Letterkennys and you are in a band, reach out to us.
Yeah.
We'd love to make you part of the show. So anyway,
back to what you're saying.
we don't fight at weddings. Tiara was away because of Grace.
Right, that was the first season.
Yeah.
First episode of this.
Yeah. And so we were due to record, but
Right.
that was the evening that Grace passed away.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that.
And thank gosh for Awesome,
Yeah.
because seriously, like
She
I
jumped
was
in at a moment's notice.
so panicked, like how to have the spoons for
Right.
this.
Yeah, because
So-
I mean, we try to make this. I mean, I have Podscure, which we don't always take
Right.
as serious. Don and I don't always take as seriously as we should. This one we try to because we have a lot of fans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of fans of Letterkenny. We have a lot of fans of the show.
And weirdly enough, some of y'all like us enough that care about us.
Yeah.
It was really awesome. It was really amazing to have so many of you guys reach out when Grace was in hospice and then when she finally had passed. I love you guys too. So thank you.
Yeah, it was a tough time, but it's also been a very uplifting time as well. Yeah. So
yeah, I was otherwise engaged that day.
Yeah. So anyway, Awesome jumped in on this episode as she is wont to do, because she is she's a mod over on our Discord, and she's also a mod over there with me on the Letterkenny subreddit. So she has become a very good friend over the last few months. But yeah, the musical guest for the episode was Lakeside Drive. The episode in a nutshell, and you fill in whatever if you think this is enough or whatever you might say. The Hicks, Skids, and hockey players attend the wedding of Dax and Ron.
Yeah.
There's some shenanigans shenanigating that happens
Always.
with some Sidiots.
Yes.
Causing strife between the Hicks and them. But because they don't fight at weddings,
they don't fight at
exactly.
weddings.
So and interview.
Gosh, I love the way that they took care of that problem, because there have been so many nights where I wish I could have taken care of a problem that way. Just calling my friends and hey, let's
Yeah, and
anyway,
so we had
I'm not violent
unless I have to be.
unless I'm asked nicely.
So the favorite quote on this episode is mostly the Squirrely Dan part of this, but I got the entire thing between Derry and Squirrely Dan. So
Derry, are you gonna be wearing your dad's suit?
Hang on a second. Might help if I turn this up.
So Derry, are you gonna be wearing your dad's suit?
Do falling timbers make timbers? Who the fuck are you? Yes, Katie. I got it for a grade 13 semi-formal from the Letterkenny Op Shop.
Loves the op shops.
I'll take the Sally Ann.
You know what? That suit is so dead. The last time you wore it told me the Dire Straits were the greatest band of all time.
That suit is so dad, it ate all the lunch meat on the way home from the grocery store.
That suit is so dad, it owns a VHS copy of The Hunts for Red October.
Say, Dan, you gonna cold rock a kilt?
Like my grandpa's and his grandpa's before him. A little class, a little sass, and a lot of ass, all in one tartan's garments.
Love it.
Little class, a little sass, and a whole lot of ass. Yep. That's what I'm all about.
True story.
So I would say, in this episode, my favorite character, and I know I have mine listed in there. You can, again, of course, feel free to, if you don't agree with that, say your own.
No.
But I say Squirrely Dan, really, to me, I mean, it was a really good episode regardless. I mean, all of the characters were easily really good.
Yeah.
But I really like Squirrely Dan.
Those the every episode where you have the majority of the cast members in some kind of like party or something,
Yeah.
it's always a really good episode, because I love the way each one of them interacts with each other. Like, I feel like that's what makes this show good to me. Is the way that they all come together as in a group like that.
Yeah.
And really just like all of these people who are so very different are all friends with these two people who are getting married. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the idiots and the fights and the motel room after and, you know, all of that. I love it.
Excellent. Yeah. Then Awesome and I got into a discussion about Riley and Jonesy and how they got manipulated into being what was the metrosexual version of hockey players.
I'm gonna defer to them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want to fight them. It's they're just, come on, guys, get with it. Figure it out. You've been here before. Act like you've been here before.
They're there to celebrate with their friends and pick up some snipes. They're striking out so hard because they let themselves be talked out of doing, what they would normally do.
Doing their
They
thing.
try and change themselves in order to get takedowns, and then they learn that doesn't work. So, just be yourselves, boys.
I mean, let's hope that they've learned something from this. So
let's hope. I think it's cute that they let Dax and Ron talk them into it because they're their friends.
Yeah. And they love Dax and Ron.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you not? I mean, they're great fucking guys, and they're next on my list.
What list was this?
No, I know. You should have been here for that.
I know, right? Jesus. But I totally agree with that point about sorry, Riley and Jonesy.
Yeah.
And how how cute they were, where they're like, oh, you guys think we can do better. So help us. We would love that.
Right.
We love you. It's all good. Let's do this.
I mean, just because a guy looks good and he's gay doesn't mean he's going to be able to tell you how to pick up girls. Because he's obviously not going out and picking up girls.
Right. I mean,
And-
there are girls, or there are people out there who would have been very attracted probably to Riley and Jonesy in that facade that they had put on. However, not the people that they were looking to hook up with. So
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. and that's why they ended up with trying to pick up lacrostitutes. So,
Right.
which was probably, and I don't have,
Great.
I don't think I did terms in this one, but that was a great term, lacrostitute instead of puck bunny. So then we get into episode 2, the old college try episode. And that we had our guest, Dennis Coogan, who, oh my God, you got to check him out. He makes amazing custom pop vinyls.
So cool.
And he does them of Letterkenny characters as well as
Give him all of your money.
Yes.
Seriously, like
Yeah, I mean for $50 or $60.
Funko, hire him.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Then we wouldn't be able to get the custom characters
true.
though.
But maybe we can get some Letterkenny characters like
So
a
come on,
whole
you,
line
you
of
wanna,
them.
You want to get some Letterkenny characters in there, boss? You know. So
And we could totally email him, hey, what about this character from this TV show? Yeah, go push that. Yeah.
So Dennis joined us as our guest. Our musical guest was the Starjays, which is our friends Angela Teeny and
Roy K.
Roy K. Roy K from the Roy K Trio. So couple of
And they're going to be at Viva this year. They'll
So
be playing
anybody,
at Viva Las Vegas if you're going.
if you're into jump blues and rockabilly and stuff, go to Viva Las Vegas.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's already sold out. But if you're going to Viva, make sure you check out the Starjays.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, if you like,
And look for
if you like to
Viva
dance,
next time.
yeah.
Yes, if you like to dance, that's great music to dance
It
to.
is. So yeah, the episode I have in a nutshell. Wayne tries on a new relationship with Tanis. The Skids get deeper into the dark web. And the hockey players meet their new team that they weren't expecting to meet. Would you put anything else into that?
I think this episode was the start of me getting uncomfortable and upset with Tanis. It
Yeah.
started.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just there were things that like, okay,
Mhm.
it was the first time I was seeing something that would turn me off in a relationship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just leave it at that.
She was definitely being the guy.
She was being very Tanis, but also like
What
having some
stereotypical-
stereotypes.
Yeah. The she would be the stereotypical guy
Yes.
in the beginning of a relationship in this.
Yes. She didn't like the way that he crossed his legs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, yeah. It.
Yeah.
Mm.
So-
You know me.
oh yeah, I know. No, you're not wrong.
Especially when it comes to critiquing the way somebody like looks or acts. Like I've been critiqued for that my entire life. Don't fucking do that. Do not do that. Let people be themselves.
So the favorite quote in this area, and I just got the part of it that I got a quote for, and it actually comes at the end of this. But I got the entire thing between Marianne and Betty Ann because it's just too good to pass it all up.
Do you think the door is open to everyone here? Just because Marianne looks like she's homeless doesn't mean you can treat it like a shelter.
Fuck you, Betty Ann. But she's right. Doors isn't open to everybody here. Just because her mitt looks like the back of Christ's head doesn't mean you can treat it like a church.
Fuck you, Marianne. Your mitt looks like Babe Ruth's ball glove from the dirty 30s if 20 more dudes spat chewing tobacco in it.
That's that. How do you come up with that?
I don't know. I am certainly not that creative.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah.
In another podcast on their Facebook group, they basically were like, come tell me what your best and most creative swears are, and I'm like, my students can outswear me in a heartbeat. Like I talk like a fucking sailor, but I talk like a 40-year-old fucking sailor, whereas these kids come up with the most uncomfortable sounding things.
Well, yeah, because they've got that tween age where they're good at insults,
but also
then they add the swearing on top of it.
Yeah, they also don't understand like the way things go together. My favorite one right now is nipple tit. Right? I'm like, what does that mean?
Don't be a nipple tit.
So that's the new one that I've been dealing with in my classroom.
All right, then.
Oh God, there was I'm not gonna do that.
But
yeah.
So yeah, my favorite character, and it has to be characters. Marianne and Betty Ann.
Absolutely.
They steal the show every fucking time. I love them. They are hilarious. They're gorgeous. They're badass, and I want more Marianne and Betty Ann. And now it looks like I can get that in two places: The Expanse, because they've both been in The Expanse.
They've both been in it, yeah. Which is really funny. I actually didn't. Different seasons, so not together.
Right.
And I did not actually that didn't come together in my head that way.
Yeah. And
I remember.
And Tanis was in it.
And Tanis was in it for
she didn't say anything.
Minute.
She had no lines. So yeah, look. I tweeted at Tyler Johnston. I said, Tyler, you need to go try to get on The Expanse because your being a skid makes you perfectly suited to be a belter.
Hell yes.
And I want to hear Tyler Johnston speak in that belter accent because it would be great. And so the clip that I chose for this episode is the Letterkenny origin story of Dennis, and it was pretty good.
Right, I have a strange circuitous route to Letterkenny. I'm actually a martial artist by trade and by profession, but I got in the habit of making custom Funko Pops for my friends and making wedding cake toppers and things of that nature. And somewhere in December of 2018, there was a Hulu suggestion for this folksy little Canadian TV show that I thought I would check out. And I'd originally broken off an engagement, so I found myself with a little more time to binge. So between Christmas and New Year's.
Like a wedding engagement?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So, again, I needed
That'll
to
give you a little
occupy my
time, yeah.
a little bit. Yeah. So it came on as a suggestion, and some reason during that period of time, I'm like, yeah, I think I'll check this out. So from the first episode, I saw, Michelle Milette walk by, and I'm like, well, hello. And then as soon as I heard nice onesie, does it come in men's? And I think you come in men enough for all of us. So I lost my shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's
pretty much for us too.
Yeah, exactly. When I saw that first YouTube clip that came out with that in it, that had me. So yes, that's definitely. I mean, without the engagement woes.
True.
But Dennis seems to be doing all right, and we like Dennis a lot. And so go buy his stuff. He's a good guy. Anything else you want to add on the end of the old college try? I know Tanis, I think we both everybody wanted to fight Tanis. No, I think Dennis wanted to fuck Tanis regardless. But I mean,
it was his chance.
Yeah. So I mean, you
that's
can't.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Hey, anytime we have a guest on, I'm like, it's okay. I understand.
It's an angry fuck.
I get to think about it. I get to think about it week in and week
Hate
out
fucking.
if I would fuck them that day.
Right. Yeah.
Like you have all of that time that you've been waiting for it. So
Yep.
go for it. If you're on our show and you want to fuck every single character, no matter what they were like that day.
Yep.
I do not judge you.
True. Then we get to one of the best episodes, in my opinion, of the season, Hard Right J.
Mm-hmm.
We had our friend Renee Encarnacion join us. Brute Force, who you heard at the top of this episode, was our musical guest, and the episode in a nutshell. And I got these from IMDb, so that's why it's funny. An out of towner causes a ruckus in Letterkenny.
That's a ruckus. A ruckus. Is that what it's called now? Okay.
How about Nazi comes to Letterkenny and gets his ass kicked
and finds out that those good old boys are not his kind of good old boys.
Yeah. And so this was the number one voted quote.
Bamboo backs it, Rattan backs it, Wicker backs it.
Backs it? Yeah, so that's one of two words Derry can't say, right? Is the other one Derry?
Breakfast.
Yeah, Derry can't say the word breakfast either. You ever not try, bud?
Breakfast backs it.
Oh, boy.
Boy. Poor Derry.
Like there are so many things that I'm just like, oh.
Poor Derry. You feel bad for him. You love him to death.
I adore him. Like he reminds me the most of me because I have those weird, awkward things all the time where I'm like, yeah, I know. Yes, I know. The more I drink or the more I talk to Canadian people, I sound like a Canadian. I know that there are certain words that I cannot say. I get it.
Favorite in this episode, my favorite character was Tanis because she was just fucking badass.
What was the quote? Like, we're not here for a fight.
So, we don't ascribe to violence or something like that's what Hard Right J said. Oh, we do.
Yeah.
ain't nothing peaceful gonna happen here.
Yes. Like that scene, that whole scene where she's just looking at him and she's got that like half smile, like I'm gonna fuck you up. I just love that. That's the Tanis I like.
Skoden, Studis. So yeah, great episode. Then we talked a bit about the HRJs and the Letterkenny fandom.
Spewing propaganda.
Yeah.
And trying to get people to hear that.
I've been down that dark path of fucking trying to communicate why someone is wrong on the internet. And then their only response was, yeah, well, you're a noob. I'm like, this isn't video game related. Like, that's not like, oh, well, you're a cuck. I'm like, I'm not even in a relationship right now. I don't understand. It's like,
yeah,
he does it so well. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I like how they always try to come off as, oh, I'm gonna get him. You're a cuck. You're a libtard. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Did I hurt your feelings? Actually, no, but I'm pretty sure that I hurt yours.
I would have to care about you in order for you to hurt my feelings.
Right?
Like, I have shot at more important people in different countries than you are.
I felt bad for them.
Yeah.
That hurt my feelings having to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. The HRJs ain't so smart. I mean,
sorry, it's just reminding me of our neighborhood right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. White liberals, in my opinion, are white upper middle class liberals are, in my opinion, a big part of what's wrong in this world.
Yes, many of them, yes. Quite so. They it's
because they pay their taxes so that those low income kids can go to school.
The NIMBYs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're definitely the NIMBYs.
Oh yes.
Not in my backyard. So Yeah.
I used to be able to depend on pretty much anybody that voted Democrat. That's not true anymore.
No.
Hmm.
It's like, like the guy who just, I mean, not to get too much into politics, the guy who just left the Democratic Party
Right.
to become a Republican. And what's funny is, from what I'm reading in the news, is the Republicans don't want him and the Democrats are calling him a traitor. So,
Yay, American politics.
Yeah, Merca. Fuck
Fall of
yeah.
Rome. Fall of Rome. You ever want to watch history?
About fucking time.
Right?
Somebody's got to fucking fall. May as well be us, right?
Well, and the UK is apparently like paying attention and following in our footsteps for some god awful reason.
Yeah, you guys were here. I mean, you had a
You've had to
country-
deal with this before.
Right. This is not new. Come on, guys.
Like, come on.
Anyway, back to Letterkenny.
That's what happens when you have a political episode. All of the
No, you're not. Yeah, it was a political. There's a lot of people that say, "Oh, Letterkenny's not political." Fuck you. It is.
They did this episode because all of you fucking people weren't getting it, so
Yeah.
they were like, "Here, let's put it in your face."
They've had discussions about LGBTQ stuff, about this hard right J shit, and they do make fun of the left about trying to come up with names that nobody will be offended by. But you know what? It's true. We do
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
We care about
people's feelings.
Yeah, we care about people's feelings. But but all the other stuff about the foot fuckers and like, okay, come on.
Yeah, I'm not a kink shamer. There are definitely times when I have to kind of. It's like watching a
The Muff
Tarantino
Riders.
movie. You know that there's going to be a couple of N-words in there, but you either deal with it or you don't watch Tarantino. Like, if you can't handle a little bit, you're never going to enjoy anything.
Right.
But on the other hand,
But it doesn't mean you have to accept.
you
that
don't have to accept everything.
Right.
You are under no obligation.
Correct.
But you also can stop doing the thing.
That's right.
And
We
this
are-
is my hard left opinion.
So anyway, let's jump to the Letterkenny spelling bee. We had
Or
our
something different.
something for a little something different. We had our friends Aaron and Katie on. We are our first Miss Katie's.
This was when we
we were in
were
Portland.
for your birthday.
Yeah, our first episode in Portland. So Aaron and Katie were on with us. Valak was our musical guest.
yeah.
Amazing fucking music for an 18-year-old single performer.
Completely envious
Yeah.
of every aspect of that kid's career that's about to blow up.
Yeah, I mean, it's 18 years. Yeah, we're gonna say kid for an 18-year-old.
Yeah,
My
you're-
daughter's 20. She's a
still
kid.
Yes, yes.
No offense meant by it, but
I'm 40. He's 50. If we were adults before you were born, it's going to take a little bit before we don't see you as a kid.
Yeah.
So sorry.
and I also use kid or kiddo as a term of endearment. So that's my thing. So, but anyway, the episode in a nutshell for the Letterkenny Spelling Bee: competition heats up at Letterkenny's Adult Spelling Bee. There's a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah, Katie had lost the year before, but she had won like
9
everything
9 years before.
9 years in a row. And,
Yeah.
and it was Stuart that she lost to.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But
was-
essentially, it was just like the fight between them and the two groups.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, there was. I think
And
there was. Yeah, because everybody was there.
Yes.
So there was nothing happening. There was no hockey. This was all the spelling bee.
Mhm.
So
Another one that I like because you get the whole group together.
right. And so Dan also very sensitive to how Katie's feeling.
This would be you.
Yeah. So this happens.
They should be able to clap if she get one right squarely down.
Yeah, like that's what we've done in the past.
Yeah, but look at what happens last year's. Yeah, but see, she's used to getting cheered for, right? We don't want her to get inside of her own head if no one cheers for her. It's the last thing we fucking want.
It's too risky, Dan.
Okay, I am sorry for my outburst earlier. I came at you with a lot of anger and that was unnecessary. You can cheer if someone gets a word right, but it starts and ends there. I don't want to hear a fucking fart out of any of you if someone gets a word wrong. As sure as grandma's got gout, if I hear one fucking heckle, I will staple your tongue to your taint so you can watch me kick your ass.
Exactly.
I fucking love that. Although those girls were heckling the hockey boys, and he didn't do anything about that.
Well,
The girls who thought that they were gonna try and fuck Stewart if he won.
Oh, right.
And they were like, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. True.
they were kind of heckling,
Well, you know.
but just those specific people.
Yeah. But, you know, he didn't give a shit about them.
No,
he only
no,
cares
no, no.
about Miss Katie's.
Right.
So,
Again, it's you.
it is. Yeah. I will staple your tongue to your taint so you can watch me kick your ass. That's what it's going to be. But we also got into, as we do, a bit of a discussion about autism and Wayne and the spectrum of Wayne. So here's what we got into. Yeah, I think, looking at this in the spectrum of Wayne, where his processing doesn't work is those things that are
Uncomfortable
and
outside of
dynamic,
his norm. Yeah.
that are not straight. He kind of has an issue with gray area.
Mhm.
That's what his issue is, and so his processing is
In
if
black
it
and
doesn't
white.
follow these set of rules, then yeah. So that's kind of where and that's why Katie helps him with that. So that's why she's important to him so much, is that she helps him with understanding all of that processing, where he's trying now to pay that back.
Yeah.
and
He
the
feels
best
like
way he
he's
can.
supposed to be her emotional support in this situation because he was so devastated by her losing.
Yeah.
So he's like projected that emotion on.
So yeah, that's where he turns it up to 11.
Well, I think
which I absolutely do.
The thing is one of the lines that you're reminding me of was when he was talking about, I think it's called the comfort zone because everything in it's
Yep.
like warm and comfortable from what was it? Letterkenny Leave. And the interesting thing about that is that he has the problems with the social situations, but he figured out like hours before everybody else what was going on.
Yes.
So he was
Yes.
just like,
He always does.
no,
Usually.
I
He's the
don't
one-
want anything to do with this. I'm gonna go
Well,
get a
he-
beer.
Yeah.
Like he figured it out, but he
Someone
was
get this
like,
guy
but I'm not
flowers."
going to spoil anybody
he
else's
says-
fun. They might enjoy it. I'm going to do what makes me comfortable, which is go sit outside and drink a beer.
Yeah, he knew he was uncomfortable at it, but it took him a bit to figure out exactly what. So he just took
Figured
himself outside of the situation.
And what's really funny, like looking back on my own life,
Yeah.
that's why I started smoking cigarettes back when I was a teenager.
Is that why
I
Wayne
wanted
was
to be
figured out?
away? You
Figured
know,
out.
yeah.
You wanted to get
Yeah, I
away?
think so.
Well, I think if he feels he's figured it out, everybody else
Right,
should have figured it out
right.
already.
I would relate to that one.
I would have to agree. That's,
So-
that's why he probably says that.
Yeah.
Like I find it really funny every time we talk about Wayne and being on the spectrum, and I think about the whole special interest thing. That autism is my special interest.
Yeah.
Like long before I was diagnosed or figured it out, I have been obsessed with learning as much as I can outside of a school specific thing, but just reading every study I could and every book I could get my hands on. And, I've been working with those kids for 20 years. And it's just so funny to me to kind of look back and go, that right there was a trait of my autism because I was a voracious learner of specific subjects, but I always had trouble when it was like general schooling.
Anomalous.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So then, and yeah.
Spectrum of Tiara.
Let's see, Spectrum of Tiara. Favorite character in that episode, also Squirrely Dan.
Easily.
Because he's not
Love
taking
Dan.
any shit. So then we jump to season 5, episode 5, Back to Back.
To Back.
Yes. And our guest host was Jake Whitko from WrestleThon. And our musical guest was Finding Freedom. The episode, in a nutshell, the hockey players try to win their first championship, and Stewart is visited by some old friends. Some old friends, because he's been dabbling in the dark web.
So there's an intervention.
Yes, there's an intervention.
They
Yeah,
hold an intervention
Yeah.
for him.
exactly. So the number one quote for that episode was,
Impossible.
How do you mean?
The last guy that was into Marianne was the priest at Catholic school in grade 6. and only because he thought she was a boy.
Well done, Betty Ann. Catholic school, grade 6. Isn't that the same year you got the nickname Fisted Sister? Which you gave yourself?
Ladies. Women.
And a fitting nickname it was, Betty Ann. Your mitt looks like a boa constrictor unhinged its jaw in an effort to consume a combat submarine.
Speaking of consumption, your mitt looks like the drooping jowls of a Shar-Pei with palsy and a water wing in its mouth.
Your mitt looks like the back of Kelsey Grammer's head circa Frasier 94, if the cast each autographed his bald spot with multicolored lipsticks.
Jesus Christ.
They come up with such good. The chirps that they do are so much better than anybody else ever
You're
does.
so clever. Like that's something I always envied in Grace. She always had a very quick wit to like insult
Yep.
to like the depth of your soul. It's like she will cut you deep if she wanted to. And like that I feel like they would have been best friends.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Favorite characters this episode, Riley and Jonesy in this case, because this was where they came into their own.
I would have said probably almost, okay, don't kill me, but I would almost at this point looking back think Shorzy, because it was so funny how one, the skating, and two, that
Skates like that.
I know, right? But being kind of that
The spark.
Thank you, to get them back together and working together to win this championship. So not that I thought that Shorzy is great or anything, but really he was the thing that finally got them to like shut the fuck up and play, you know?
Yeah, but he's an asshole.
Oh God, yeah, I know. Trust me. I've met people like that.
And so then we during our Fuck Fight Ferda, we had a little conversation about Fuck Fight Ferda and Katie. Miss Katie's.
Like every episode would be fuck.
Yeah.
Katie's my crush of this show. Like everyone's got their person Katie's mind. So
I totally get it. I totally get it. I don't usually, because just like physically not my real life type.
Yeah.
But like I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is Ferda? You're Ferda.
I'm Ferda.
Ferda.
Like
All
the
right.
only times
That's
that
fine.
I've ever been like, yeah, fuck, or like when she fucked Mrs. McMurray in the bathroom.
She kicked Angie.
When she kicked Angie in the crotch, yeah. When she and Tanis, like whenever they get together, oh,
yep. Oh, yep.
your sister's hot. There, said it.
Okay, can we please have just a moment of silence for Katie and Tanis having never gotten together?
They're not. It's not over yet.
True. Season 8 does come out in a week.
It could still happen.
Fingers are crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. Katie doesn't get a lot of fucking. I mean,
Not
except for
from
guests.
me.
From guests.
Not from
yeah.
me. That's
So,
true.
Yeah. I mean, not there's.
I would
not
I
that she's
I
not
would
sexy. And
think
yeah.
that she would be an amazing friend for me.
Mhm.
Just not my type.
Yeah. No, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What it amounts to.
That's right. Shout out to Gil Brandt, the godfather of the Dallas Cowboys. So.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
Then we jump to the season finale, but not the last episode of the season, which is Bake Biche, which came in second place, like I said earlier, with our guest host, Valerie Lopez, and our musical guest, I don't know if it's Mesh or Mish. I couldn't find. I tried to find out. I couldn't find out. I will email her again just to see if I can get her to answer. But either way, it's great. Our first hip hop artist on the show. So this episode, in a nutshell, the Hicks hockey players traveled to Quebec for Anik's pre-wedding party. So this is Anik, who we met in Les Hicks. And so she's getting married.
Not to one of our people.
Not to one of our people. Yeah.
However,
there's
Beyonce is a douche.
Yeah, he is. The quote that was loved by everybody was this.
What's about you, Jean-Carlos?
Me, you know, TD Bank.
Huh?
TD Bank.
Titty Bank?
Yeah. TD Bank. TD Bank. Titty Bank.
Titty Bank.
Huh? Titty Bank.
Huh? Titty Bank.
Titty Bank. Titty Bank.
Huh? Come on, Titty Bank. Ben, vous connaissez la Titty Bank?
I want to make sure I'm hearing this right. Titty Bank.
Titty Bank.
Oui, Titty Bank.
Bank. So like a rip.
That's what I thought. Like Titty Bank.
Oui, on calisse Titty Bank.
It is Titty Bank.
Oh!
Titty Bank.
Yeah. Titty Bank.
It's so juvenile, but it's so brilliant.
Right? But I also, like, I wondered, for me personally, when we first watched this episode, and I totally did not get it myself, but we also don't have it. It's TD Ameritrade here.
Yeah, right.
So I've never heard it referred to TD Bank before.
TD Bank.
And so for me, I was like, what are they talking about? Is there, I think I was a little like Katie, like, what kind of club are we talking?
And then, so yeah, favorite character of this episode was Wayne. The way he walked in to that, I mean, he number one, he's going to stick up for his friends, even though they're from Quebec. He drives all the way from Letterkenny to Quebec to be there for him, to have this buck and doe, and then he pays for everybody to get in. And
Plus gives a lot of money to the
gives an
bride
extra
and groom.
$100, yeah, and chats with the old fella there, and he just he's a great fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much to diss him on this. He's there thick and thin.
Yep.
Once
he considers you a friend and a part of his group,
Mhm.
you are a friend and part of his group until you fuck up.
True.
It's kind of very similar to
Yeah.
me a little bit.
I mean, even if you fuck up, he's going to let you back in if you
Over
own
and
it.
over again
Yeah.
until he's if you own it. That's
Yeah.
the point. Right
I mean, even to the point where he stands up for Stewart.
Mhm.
So
he stands up for the hockey boys,
Yeah.
even though he doesn't.
I don't
give
even know
two
your true
shits about
names.
them. Like, he remembers their names, but probably doesn't remember which one is which. Kind of like us,
right? So many people.
because he calls them by their names in other episodes, or in some episodes, and in other episodes, he's like hockey players.
Yeah.
'Cause he's like, you two, So
I don't know your names, but if you're a hockey player, get in there.
exactly.
And so then we had a chat about the just the brilliance of Letterkenny writing and how they use repetition. Do you have anything that you'd like to?
Well, so my observations on this episode, and why I really wanted to talk about this episode is that final scene for a show that is so dialogue heavy and wordplay heavy. And I timed this when I was rewatching it this morning. It's 5 minutes from the time that the song starts until that final scene of absolutely no dialogue happening, but all of the visuals telling you like so many things that are happening.
Oh, yeah.
Between Wayne looking forlorn to Tyson and Joint Boy bringing him in to have some drinks, to the D-Gens from Laval showing up and to me, the scene where he is walking through that crowd and the choreography of that crowd, of the fighting happening all around him and him being just locked in. I always got like a goosebumps when I would watch that scene, but even knowing what I know now, I still got super emotional watching that scene. Yeah. And I'm like, to have a show that is so funny and witty and smart, and to have it give you like that much of an emotional reaction, it's like, oh my God, I love this show so much.
Totally.
And then the whole, so many great, again, with it, almost every episode, so many great bits, the whole Titty Bank, and then the repetition with, I'll have a shot, everybody repeating, I'll have a shot, I'm hammered, everyone repeating. That whole repetition thing is so pervasive throughout this episode that, it's, you think about sitting in the writer's room and you wonder, okay, let's just come up with a phrase, and to eat up time, let's just have everybody repeat it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it doesn't take up a lot of time, but it takes up just enough.
Versus the fact
That's not a
that
bad
sometimes repetition is just really, really funny, and it obviously is with this. So,
well, I think that's part of what makes Letterkenny so successful is everybody knows, the allegedly's because they've been said it over and over, and all.
Yeah,
I'd have a scrap. All that.
Yeah.
It's been repeated so many times, and it's just part of the Letterkenny culture.
Yeah. I think one of the things that makes that particular thing so interesting to me is I usually hate shows that make a joke last too long. Like a lot of comedies will spend a minute on something that could have taken 10 seconds or 10 minutes on something that could have taken 5. Like Family Guy, whenever he's like fighting the chicken and it lasts like 3 minutes of nothing but just them punching each other. And I'm like, okay, it was funny for the first like 10 seconds, but why do we keep... But with this one, it's so clever. It's not done in a way that it feels like it's ad nauseum. It feels completely natural that they'd be like, oh yeah, I'd have a beer. I'd have a beer. I'd have a beer. I'd have a beer. We
having beers? I'd have a beer.
Yeah. You having a beer? I'd have a beer. You having a beer? I'd have a beer. Like, but that doesn't bug me in the same way because it's done, I don't know, as a...
I think they also, in a way, they're kind of making fun of the trope.
A little bit too, but it never feels like it's taken too far.
No.
So,
no.
And for me, who has very little patience for that kind of stuff, it's really
all that
lovely.
shenanigating.
It's lovely. So I'm not sure it's a time filler, I think is what I was kind of getting to with that.
Well,
that was one of the things that Valerie was talking about.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be a little bit of that. I mean, just say, we got to get a couple seconds here so we can throw this in. We can throw this in, and it's things that people have come to expect, and it's not over inundated. They don't do it every time. They throw it in maybe once a season,
and then every once in a while they'll do something silly like Glenn with the shirt. Instead of allegedly, it said apparently or something. Yeah. Like all of those. And how they make fun of themselves, making fun of other people. Like, I love that.
It's a lot of self-referential stuff. And then finally, we get to the last episode of the season, which was the Christmas episode, The Three Wise Men. Our guest hosts are going to be starting Cold Ghost now, just so you know. Eric Sherman from the Letterkenny subreddit. He's the super mod over there. He has control over everything. Me and Awesome and the other mods are just a little bit below him. We can't like make changes to the entire subreddit. We can ban users and shit like that, but and do other things within there. But we're limited. He's like the top guy. So
I have no idea how Reddit works. Like, I am definitely one of those people that avoided Reddit because of the people that I knew were on there. And I don't like to get into those kind of conversations. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I know a lot of that. There was a lot of stuff that was 4chan-y that was happening there.
Yes.
I know
a lot of it. Yeah. And that's why I'm starting to get into it. And, I'm not on the Letterkenny as much, but I'm on a few other things. So
but
same with Discord. It doesn't feel as, gatekeepery as it used to.
Well, Discord it just depends on which Discord server you join. Because those are all, and if you're a fan of podcasts, go in the Cast Junkie Discord server, because there's lots of cool stuff that you can find out about other podcasts, and we're on there as well. And you can come join the How Are You Now channel on the Cast Junkie Discord server, and we're actually planning on doing some stuff on there about doing like a weekly meetup and playing music and maybe doing some trivia. So
cool.
Yeah. So that's our hope. That'll probably be starting next year. I'm going to work with Awesome on that since she's our mod over there.
Awesome.
So, yep. Awesome is awesome. So, Three Wise Men with Eric Sherman and our musical guest, James Honeycutt,
Jimmy,
who you will hear at the end of the episode, of this episode as well. And then, so in this one, the Hicks throw a Christmas party.
I heard somewhere. This might be have you ever heard that this might be the best Christmas episode ever?
Yeah, I think so. So they throw, at the Hicks house, they throw a Christmas party, and Wayne is basically playing Santa. You got Bonnie McMurray playing his little elf, and it's cute. And I think this is kind of the beginning of Bonnie coming into her own character.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, and you can see her over, the next, this season and season 5, into season 5, into 6 and 7. That, Bonnie is.
She's not just a pretty face.
Exactly. Anyway, they have this Christmas party where they're mixing their jingle juice together and nobody can puke until midnight, where they have the 3 wise men.
Somebody was obviously puking the whole time.
Yeah. And while they're drunk, Roald makes an advance on Stuart.
I hate to mistake this opportunity, Stuart, but I believe this is a mistletoe. Oh no! Oh.
Merry Christmas.
That is excellent.
I love
Roald.
When Stuart's not being an asshole to him, I love them so much.
Yes. And yeah, he didn't turn away at all at that.
Nope.
Yeah, he allowed the kiss.
Puckered up a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, he did. But my favorite, and I don't know why the coach's stuff didn't get put as the in the favorite quotes.
It was pretty darn great, but for me, I know Coach is your favorite in this episode. Absolutely.
Yes, totally.
That's not everybody.
No, who's your favorite in the episode?
Like that scene that you just described,
Mm-hmm.
and either that or Gail, because she's like trying to play with everybody's hair and just very low key for Gail, but like obviously flirting with everyone there.
Oh yeah.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
That's me at a party right there. I'm just gonna walk up to each group and I might pet you.
Well, I mean, I
play
did
with your
love
hair.
the whole thing about the discussion of the Santa Claus. I mean, but that was a group.
Well, and another great thing out of this,
the serial killers.
I was going to say the whole discussion about Home Alone.
Oh yeah,
that came out, and today in my classroom we watched Home Alone, and that's all I thought about the whole time was like, oh yeah, that would have killed somebody. That would have killed somebody. God, this is dark. And like how Kevin thinks that his family just left because he made this wish. And then his mom is just like
the thinking of an 8-year-old.
But also I was kind of pissed off with that mom when she got the kid got in trouble because his big brother was an asshole to him. Like I literally have watched that movie with different eyes this time.
Well, the mom got
dark as fuck.
Well, because the mom got on the plane thinking everybody was there.
No. I'm talking about before that. The opening, basically, where the house is just crazy and basically everyone just shits on Kevin and makes him feel like shit.
Mom has had to set up
enough
because Mom has had to set up everything.
Mhm.
I don't know how this
And
got on.
somehow she's
Home
letting
Alone
everybody.
podcast.
She's letting everybody take it out on this 8-year-old kid, though.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about your kids. Go let him.
Kevin's going to be one of my students someday.
Go let him hang out with the cops. Because probably Kevin is a sociopath and he wants to fucking kill people.
I don't think he's a sociopath, but I do I really do feel like he would fit in really well with my students. Like he's so clever and so intuitive of his surroundings, and like he's very hyper aware.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a telltale sign of abuse. So anyway, looking at movies with different eyes. Maybe we should talk about that. Anyway, where were we? Your favorite character?
So my favorite character was Coach, of course. So do you have a favorite character, or is it?
I already said that.
Okay. So Gail?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you said it could be Gail. You said it.
Honestly, the ensemble episodes like this, it really is hard to pick just one. But for me, like what I can still remember, if that character has something that I can still remember like a week or two later, which at this point I haven't rewatched that episode since we recorded. What I am remembering the most are the mistletoe scene, which I'm so glad won. And yes, I remember Coach, but I also remember being uncomfortable because me and Gail literally being me at just about every party I go to. I'm probably smoking pot instead of drinking, but I'm also probably flirting or stimming on something.
It kind of surprises me with Gail and Coach now is that they haven't hooked up at least that we know of.
Right. But I mean, Coach hasn't been with anybody since Barb.
Yes, and how to love her.
He has not taken a lover since the most perfect lover.
Honestly, that's the grossest part is using the
word lover. Yes. It's very uncomfortable.
Unless you're talking about Ed Lover. Good one, son.
Mr. Lover.
But anyway, yeah, we had a nice discussion about how this happened.
When Glenn was doing his scene with the didgeridoo, I was not concerned. That's the word. I was wondering whether or not he shot his scene without Wayne being in the room, because I don't know how he could have got through that without the both of them just cracking up when he's like, "You want a toot? You want a toot?" and you see they shoot back and forth to Wayne, but I'm convinced when Glenn was there, Wayne wasn't in the room, because Wayne would have been dying. Keith would have been dying.
Yeah, actually, I encourage everybody to go back and watch it. Just watch Wayne's face throughout the entire time, because you can see there's a number of times where he's biting his lips, or there's just a sliver of a smirk.
That was what I was going to bring up next, is when he was doing the whole thing with the hockey players, and they're sitting next to him. You can obviously see him chewing on that lip just to keep him cracking up laughing.
And Jonesy too. Like Jonesy was like, I'm not
I mean, Dylan Playfair has a huge grin on it. He's smiling the whole time, but Wayne's really trying to hold that scowl, and he's biting the lip, and it was
he's trying to be stoic Wayne.
Yep.
I love this show.
It's such a great show.
It's a great fucking show.
It's a great fucking show. Surprised we're not watching a great fucking show right now.
Oh my God. A couple more days and we'll be watching brand new episodes. And we still have to do a rewatch of 7. We've only watched it once so far.
Yeah. But we got to watch 8. Then we'll watch 7 again.
We're going to have but
then we gotta start watching
3/4 of
6.
a week together though.
Yeah.
We're going to have 3/4 of a week together with no work.
Yeah.
No kids.
Can confirm.
Are we getting out of bed at all during that time?
We may have to go get groceries or something.
Yeah, that's probably
And you'll probably need weed.
Almost definitely.
We could stock up before, I suppose. So that's all of that's
season 5.
That's season 5 and of the show and of us. So
hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So what's coming up? We'll be kicking off our season 6 shows after Christmas. We're recording our first episode on the 29th for it to be released. It's either 2nd or 3rd, whatever that.
I believe it's the
first Thursday of January. And then season 8 drops December 25th on Crave and December 27th on Hulu. Yeah. What you think about that?
I'm really excited and kind of nervous that it's happening so quickly, that there's a whole nother season already when we just had one. So I don't know if this is just going to be like 7.5.
Yeah. Well, also there was no holiday episode with 6.
Right.
So it made it feel shorter. So,
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Both
but it did, because that came out in October. Now we got December instead of there's usually a 6-month period
at least. Yeah.
So
yeah, it makes me wonder if this is actually just a continuing of the last season, or if they had planned it and they were like, you know what, fuck it, we're doing so good right now.
I think
really into it.
I think what had happened is that my guess is that their Letterkenny Live that was happening earlier just went over, and they couldn't get things done in time for July like they normally do it, June, July. And so they had to push it to October. That's my guess.
It makes total sense, because that was their first tour, right?
Yeah.
In the US at least.
In the US, yes, correct.
And then we get to see them live in
April.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
April 10th, I think, something like that.
It's on the calendar
10th
somewhere.
or 11th, yeah. So I'm
somewhere around Easter.
I'm so excited for it, but I'm trying not to be too excited right yet. I'll be excited once we get to that week. I'm gonna have to.
You won't be able to talk.
I'm gonna have
for
to
a little
take
bit.
off the week.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be fun. Anything else?
You are
wanna...
so cute.
Yeah.
He really is, guys. Everybody out there, you should know how fucking cute this guy is. This guy right here, he's so cute.
What guy?
This
What are
guy.
you talking about?
This guy.
So anyway, find us on our Discord, the How Are You Now Discord. Follow us on Patreon. You don't have to donate to us to follow us, but a buck a month helps us out. Because this shit ain't free.
And I'm a teacher. I don't make the big bucks.
And we're gonna, if I think once we get up to probably like $50 a month, we can start doing like a t-shirt giveaway for our Patreon subscribers. So, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I think that's in our off period here, we'll talk about that. And because I think, if we're because we're right close to $50 a month right now, I think we're at 47, something like that. So if we get to 50 a month, that's what we'll do. We'll start doing a t-shirt for one of the Patreon subscribers. So if you happen to be a Patreon subscriber,
and that can be like $1 a month, right?
Sure. Yeah. $1 a month. And we'll still allow, once we start getting, the ability to do interviews with more cast members, you'll get those first.
Yep.
So
that's right. When we first established our Patreon, that was when we had our interview with Stuart. And our Patreon patrons got to listen to that a week ahead of time, if I remember right.
Yeah. I think it was at least a week ahead of time, but
2 weeks, something like
maybe.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, exclusive access. Makes it sound so much better when you say it like that.
And you don't have to go to the dark web.
No, right there on the light web, I guess, right? Is that
sure? All right. So we'll see you D-Gens in a couple of weeks. Have a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year.
And hug and love all of your people and let them know how much you love them. And life is short. Have fun.
And have them subscribe to us.
Tell your friends to listen. Join the Facebook group and talk to us. Join the Twitter. Do it.
Do it. Do it.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of How Are You Now, our recap show of season 5. If you'd like to, you could subscribe to us and give us a 5-star review. You can do that either on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. If you don't have a Fruit phone device, you can go to podchaser.com and subscribe to us there. Our music for this episode, as we said, is from Brute Force and from James Huntington. Go check them out. They will be in our show notes. We love you, D-Gens. Have a great New Year.
Tripping over another, life on top of the other, all over you and me too. Here's to debts unpayable, to an end inescapable. Oh, but to wear that crown even for a day, for 15 seconds of fame, 15 seconds of fame.